Welcome back to another episode of the Wild Youth Podcast. Today we have Levi and Connor on, and we're talking about leadership. So, what's your joke?
All right, so my joke, it's not very good, but a mom tomato, a dad tomato, and a baby tomato were on a walk.
Oh, no.
And the baby tomato, of course, fell behind. And the dad tomato looked back and yelled, "Catch up, baby tomato."
Oh, that's morbid. A little bit. I mean, I guess you're going to get eaten no matter what when you're a tomato.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was good. So
No, you didn't. That's
on you.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Levi, do you want to tell people who you are, even though they should already know who you are?
Absolutely.
But you haven't been on the podcast in a while. So.
That's very true.
Yeah.
My name is Levi Rosa, and I'm the kids pastor here at church. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it for almost a year and a half now.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. I mean, you've been on a lot of episodes recently.
Yeah.
Which is great. Also, people know who you are. Do you want to intro yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Connor.
Okay, so today we're talking about leadership. And I feel like if anyone has asked you, like, what do you think a good leader is, this question is always one. So if you had to think of someone in your mind who is a good leader, in your opinion, who is it and why do you think they're a good leader? We can all share.
Are we talking like anybody? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Nice.
That's a
Sunday school
classic
answer.
one.
Love it.
I think he is the prime example, the best example of a leader and how we should
Heck yeah.
act. So, I mean,
Love
I don't
that.
think there's a better answer than Jesus.
Okay,
Yeah.
but do you have a different one?
Yes, I can give a different one. My high school football coach was an excellent leader because he stayed firm in his belief in God and tried to push us all towards that in a setting where it was not popular to do that. And he built everybody up, and as he was doing that, he brought us closer to God while he did it.
That's good.
So,
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah.
I was going to say, maybe let's not say Connor or Jesse because those are easy ones.
Well,
I
congrats.
forgot.
No one was going to.
I mean, I immediately thought about you, and then I was like, that might be awkward for you because you're sitting right here. But do you have one in mind,
I do.
or two, or five?
Yeah. I think the first one that came to mind was actually my dad.
Yeah.
Mom, also love you. You're very cool. If by chance you're listening to this, you are also an awesome leader. But I say my dad too because the man is the head of the household.
Right.
Yeah.
So the leader of the home as well.
Yeah.
So I just felt like he did a really good job of doing that in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Were there things that he could have done better? Yeah, but we could all say that.
Right.
And also in what he did for a job. So, I mean, he was a police officer for 30 plus years. And he led people really well.
Yeah.
He
That's
supervised a lot of people, and they always had good things to say about him. And he always did it with integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Being faced with adversity, he
Yeah.
still was truthful and held true to what he believed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought of my high school band teacher.
Band kid.
Yeah, I was a percussionist.
The drums.
Yeah, I was the only girl, fun fact, for all of high school.
Wow.
And then 2 years of college and like a year of middle school.
Does that mean you're joining worship team?
I have been playing the drums on Mondays
Really?
to practice, but it's going to be a hot minute. My goal is to play the drums when it's a Fearless.
Really?
Because then it could be an all-girl band.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
But
wow.
I don't want to tell Amanda this Fearless.
Correct.
So I just said, I could be like 6 years from now. No pressure on myself.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought of my band teacher because he was super passionate about what he did, and he like communicated that well and literally led us. Like he was also our marching band instructor. Yeah, and I always had fun. Like I always knew what was going on. I never felt like out of the loop. He made all of us feel included, even though there were like 200 and, some of
Yeah,
us or
wow.
whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the other one, nope, lost it. Hold on. Pause.
Was it Jesus?
It wasn't Jesus. It was like a human that's still amongst
Still living?
yeah.
Is
Yes.
your band
Yes.
teacher not?
No, he is.
Oh, okay.
Jesus also is still living, so
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Just
I don't
not
know
on the
how to
earth.
phrase this. Yeah. I lost it. In the middle of this, we'll come back and I'll be like, just yell the name.
Normally how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, does someone want to read a verse?
Sure. What verse?
1 Timothy 4:12. And I know this is like okay, I took inspiration from this podcast. No, from another podcast for this podcast. And he also Logan from Talking Church said the same thing. Of course we're using this verse because,
Yes.
but it's a good verse. So I just want to start with it and then we can open up some questions.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and purity.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, so there's like 4 or 5 like traits
5.
that Paul is talking. Nope, Timothy. Paul is writing
Paul
to
to
Timothy.
Timothy.
Yeah. Writing like they're traits. So there are things that he's telling him like these are good things when you're young to show to other people to demonstrate whatever to model, I guess is the correct phrase. So that's that is why I picked that verse, because those are just good things to model in leadership in general. But
Yeah.
I think if we go way back, we should probably ask, what is leadership? Because I think there are a lot of misconceptions about it. And I think there are a lot of people who are not leaders who are actually probably a leader. So maybe we could just talk about what is a leader?
Okay. I would say a leader is somebody who is bringing a group of people to like grow and get
Yeah.
better, or to reach a certain goal, or
Yeah.
to bring them somewhere else than they are right now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
A leader has a vision.
Yeah. I think a leader is also passionate.
yeah,
Yeah. About what they're leading or their vision.
can a leader not be passionate? So if they're not passionate,
Yeah.
are they a leader?
That's a great question you ask.
They might be given the title of a leader. Doesn't mean that they're a good leader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's true. I do think there are leaders. Like, I think all of us could probably say this. Like, at some point, we feel less passionate
Yeah.
about, like, who we are leading or what we are leading.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't say that that makes you a bad leader. You know?
right.
That's still leadership. I also think you can feel less passionate and still be a lot more passionate than a lot of other people.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I think there's misconceptions about passion, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passion doesn't
Absolutely.
just mean you're rah,
Yeah.
loud all the time.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
you
that's
just-
very true.
You have a heart for something, and can you communicate that?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Is being a leader being a good communicator?
I would say yes and no, because I would say a good leader should be able to communicate the vision and the expectations that they have for
Yeah.
the people they're leading.
Right.
But I don't think that you have to be the best with words to be a good communicator. And I think of Moses as an example of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like, stutter, can't really speak, and
Yeah.
God's telling them like, hey, I'm giving you these words.
Yeah.
but he still doesn't have that confidence to actually say it.
Yeah.
And yet he
Yeah.
was a great leader and is a great example.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, because he straight up was like, no, I can't speak.
Right. And God was like, no, yeah, you can.
Yeah, but because, of God.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, maybe not the best leadership quality
Yeah.
Yeah.
to doubt God's calling.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we've already talked about misconceptions, but I'm thinking we probably have a lot of students who are like, I'm not a good communicator like Moses, or I'm not loud, or my voice isn't loud, which is actually a misconception that I have about me a lot with leadership. Like, I think there are a lot of people around me who are louder, and so I let them lead because they're louder. Because I
That's
think it's going to be easier to communicate things. But what kind of misconceptions do you think our students have about leadership? Or what did you have when you were a student? What kind of misconception?
Let me see what I have written down. I think a lot of times we look at the leaders in our lives, and we think that they have everything together.
Yeah.
And like we have this image of them that like they're almost perfect.
Yeah.
Like they know everything. They know how to handle every situation.
Yeah.
They know how to talk to everybody, and they're not nervous to do it. I think that's something that I was really like, oh, they have that all together. And then you get to know them, and they're like,
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah.
And you become a leader yourself, and you're like, I definitely do not have this all
Yeah.
together in the slightest. And yet I'm still doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
I think the thought that leadership is a one-stop destination.
Yeah.
So if I say, hey, I think that you are a leader, you have leadership qualities, it means, oh, you're going to do my job, rather than,
Right.
hey, it's a process though.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm calling you up to be
Yeah.
a leader, but that doesn't mean that you jump from the place you're at now to being the CEO of a business
Right.
or the lead pastor of a church or
Right.
whatever it is. It's a process.
Yeah.
And so I think when we think it's this one-stop destination, there's a lot of fear,
Yeah.
which is what stops people from stepping into the first call of it.
Yeah. Yeah. There can be a lot of leaders within the same like organization or ministry. Like, you are a leader, but we are also youth leaders.
Right.
And then like Caleb is a leader of
Yeah.
what he is doing as well.
Yep.
So like, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you have to be exactly like Connor.
Yeah.
You know? But there's a lot of comparison in that too. Like, you could look at Pastor Jesse every weekend and be like, that all of the things that Pastor Jesse is what a leader is, so I must be those things. And I think like with women too, comparing yourself to another woman, it's like the same thing. I have to be exactly like that person because I think they're a good leader, but that might not make you a good leader, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has different characteristics, and
Yeah, for sure.
they have different gifts and callings that they do better than other people.
Yeah.
And so you just have to step into your own.
Yeah. What's that verse about the body parts and you can't,
1 Corinthians?
yeah. Like the church needs all of the parts of the body. Yeah, that's what that reminds me of, is
Yeah.
like we all need different, like Connor, if you were the only one who was leading the wild, there would be like a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do because you're one person.
Correct.
But there are all of us and student leaders and, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff too. So if we didn't have all of those things, your leadership would look different.
It would
You know?
suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what kind of traits should we, if we want to be a leader, or if we just want to be a good leader, like we already know we're a leader in this position that we're currently in right now, what kind of traits should we strive for to be a good leader? I know we kind of touched on this, but if Caleb wants to, also Caleb is here.
Hi, Caleb.
If Caleb wants to grow in his role, like what kinds of things could we tell him or another student? Like, get get good at these things.
Follow
be-
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you
That's
want to
good.
lead, you need to learn how to follow first.
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
I would say serve others. Because even Jesus said, "I came to serve, not to be served."
Yeah.
And I think the best leaders are the people who serve the best.
Yeah.
And do it without a like, oh, I have to do that.
Yeah.
They have a willing servant heart,
Yeah.
and I think those make the best leaders.
Yeah, I was gonna say mindset or like heart posture. Yeah, that's like super important no matter what level of leadership that you're at.
Right.
Yeah, because you can't lead well from bitterness, like constantly, you know? So if if your mindset is always like, I'm open to things or I'm open to learn or I want to stay positive about this, then you're going to be a better leader because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things that Logan said in the talking church from those 5 traits in 1 Timothy 4:12 was set an example. So the first one I think is set an example in speech. I mean, he was talking about
Yes.
being precise, which we kind of talked about this, but being able to communicate your vision. And he used this analogy, which I see in myself, but I also see in other youth as well, like when I'm talking to them. So they're telling you a story and they have all of these other details
Yeah.
mixed in that you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about anymore because there are so many other things that you're talking about that don't matter. So he was talking about being precise in your speech. But I thought it was interesting that you said that, like, you need to be able to communicate your vision. Otherwise, people aren't going to know. So if you're not
Yeah.
being precise with your words, the people who you are leading won't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're, for example, like someone like Caleb, who is a leader, but it's not necessarily his ministry.
Yeah.
He needs to know the vision so
Yeah.
that he can communicate it to the
Right.
people that he's leading.
Yeah.
So, or me, for example, Pastor Levi under Pastor Jesse. Pastor Jesse has a vision for the church. We need to know what that vision is so that we can communicate it, but also morph it into the ministries that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's
not, you don't have to be the one that's spearheading the vision to be a leader.
good. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one he talked about was love. So Logan was talking about being a lifter, so like encouraging people. Always, I don't think you need to say, how can I say this? You can say truthful things and it's loving, but it still might hurt someone because they need to hear it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like you're giving feedback that's important to someone, but that is loving, but also spending time listening to people or just stopping what you're doing and loving someone because they're having a bad day. Like those types of things I always see in good leadership.
Yeah, I think just with like showing love, it shows that you care for somebody, and
Yeah.
it also builds relationship. And so if you don't
Yeah.
have any love present, then like I would have a really tough time following somebody who didn't show love.
Yeah.
Because like you don't care about me. And so like why would I follow
Right.
your lead if you don't care?
Yeah.
And so I
Yep.
think that's a really important part of
Yeah.
being a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something we talk about as a staff as well. And Logan touched on this too, that it's not just about encouraging people, it's lifting the atmosphere in the room.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you walk into a room, are people expecting it to be lighter or are they expecting it to be heavier because you had a bad morning and you're carrying it with you as you walk in and you're going to complain about it and talk about how bad your morning was? Or
Yeah.
are you going to lead
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
that's not for me to put on them.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
coming in to lift the mood
Yeah.
and to lead these people well into
Yeah.
whatever they're doing that day.
Yeah. I think that can be confused with a misconception of like someone who's constantly and like energetic or has just a lot of energy naturally to someone who is more calm. Like those two personality traits can both still be good leaders.
Absolutely.
You know,
And I think,
Yeah.
sorry to
No,
if
you're
I'm
good.
interrupting, but I think it's important to have both of those qualities in a leadership.
Yeah.
Because there's moments where the being calm is
Yes.
very important.
Yeah.
And then there's times where that energy is much needed.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important to have both of
Yeah.
those qualities in that leadership type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about this a lot because I'm a very serious person, but I also am like, I want to talk about this one thing. I like go from extremes. But when I think about this with like the host team, especially, I'm like in hosting games as well. I always am looking for someone who has like more hype energy
Yes.
than I do because I don't have hype energy all the time. Like most of the time, I am the person who's like, let's explain things and here's the rules and I'm going to encourage you because you have a great outfit on or something like that. So I think like those two types of leadership traits or just personality traits in general can, really fuel each other at the same time. Yeah.
But also understanding that one of the two is probably going to be a learned
Yeah.
Yes.
behavior.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
one is
yeah.
going to come more naturally.
Yep.
And
Yes.
so I just don't want anyone to feel like, well, I have to naturally have both to be
Right.
a leader. No.
No.
You're probably going to have to learn one of them and
Yeah.
it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the one you're going to have to work
Yeah.
at. But
Yeah.
that doesn't make you a bad leader.
Right.
It
Yeah.
actually builds a lot of character
Yeah.
if you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, putting in work and I'm gonna mess this up, but we've talked about this at stuff a few times. Like staying long enough to see the fruit of something.
Yep.
I think that in itself is a good leadership trait.
Yeah.
Like if you're willing to sit through things that are hard or struggle through things and sacrifice things, when you do see the fruit, it's just sweeter. But like think about the amount of things that you learn in that time as well.
Yep.
But people who are not willing to go through that, you're not even learning as many things as you probably could. So, or, helping through people at the same time,
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Okay. Last question, and then we can just say last thoughts, but why should anyone watching, listening, or anyone in this room want to be a leader?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like this question.
Okay. Love that.
Why should I want to be a leader?
Are you going to tell us why you don't like it?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. I think I don't like it because not everyone is called to be a leader.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
there are different capacities, obviously, or types of leadership. So, but I think this framing the question that way of why should I want it can lead to a mentality of I deserve leadership.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that should not be the mentality that we have.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We don't deserve to be a leader.
Yeah.
We get called to be a leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's why should I say yes to being a leader?
Okay, that's good. I like that.
And you can disagree, but that's what I was thinking when I was trying to answer that question.
Yeah. Okay, I phrased the question like that because I was hoping someone would say not everyone is supposed to be a leader, but I didn't think about the rest of what you just said. But I don't disagree. I like that. I think if everyone was a leader, who would follow? Because we need people who are following as well. We need support as well, Yeah.
I don't want to say I disagree,
Okay.
but I agree and I disagree.
Yeah.
Because I don't think everybody is called to be in a like fixed leadership position.
Right.
But I think that everybody is a leader. And so what I mean by that is if you go to the store, I think you're being a leader to the people who are at the store with you. Or if you're going to school,
Are you saying because you're a Christian, or are you just saying in general?
in general,
Okay.
because it says that verse that we read, First Timothy 4:12 says, set an example in speech and conduct in love, faith, and purity. And if you're in conduct and if you're how you're acting, the way you act is seen by those around you. And so I think the way that you act,
Okay.
the how you love, how you speak
Yeah.
is all leading people. It just depends on, you get to choose how you lead them.
Yeah.
And so the way you act and the way you speak, what you do is
Yeah.
leading those who see it and are around you and hear it. But I think you get to determine whether or not you are going to lead those people well, or if
Yeah.
they, if you're leading them down a bad
Yeah.
path. I don't know if that makes sense or not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's how I
It does.
thought of the question.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's- Yeah. I would just stick to you're being an example,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
which I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And I agree with that. But it's and I think maybe just clarifying
Yeah.
what kind of
Yes.
leader we're talking about would
Right.
help.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
yes, you can lead people and not realize it. But I think what we're talking about is you are an active leader of people. You
Yeah.
have people that you are actively
Right.
leading
Right.
and influencing
Yeah.
Yeah.
and intentionally doing so.
Yeah. Okay. Throwback to so many episodes ago. I don't remember how many it was, but I said the word faith leader, and you and Ian both looked at me weird and were like, "Did you come up with that on your own?" And I was like, "I don't know. I probably heard it somewhere." Was there a reason that you asked that though?
Can tell you, don't remember that happening.
Okay. I just remember because you both were like, "Did you come up with that?" I was like, "I don't know. Does anyone come up with anything?" I don't know.
No original thoughts.
Nope.
I said that yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just thinking about that because I think that a lot of our students are faith leaders in their homes because their parents are not Christians, or like they're not going to church at all, or their brother or sister or something like that.
Right.
So I was just thinking about what you said and then what you said, and I was like, well, in that capacity, they are leading people in conduct and hopefully like all of these other things. But they're also being an example. That's why
Yeah.
the word like what does being a leader in this context mean? It needs to be defined before you can.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's the saying yes.
Yeah.
It's the commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
You have agreed that this is what you're doing. And I think oftentimes why people don't is because when we say yes,
Yeah.
well, now I'm held accountable
Yep.
Yeah.
to all of these things. All the things that we have and haven't talked about, because there's a lot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You're now being held accountable
Yeah.
to what it means to be a leader.
Yeah.
So I think I said this earlier, but I think
Yeah.
the best leader is the best servant.
Yeah.
And Jesus is a great example of that. Leadership isn't easy, but it's always worth it.
Yeah.
An effective leader has a consistent prayer life.
Yep.
Yeah.
A godly leader has a yes, God mentality.
Yep.
Yeah.
A leader points out potential unseen by others. And then a great leader does not let their emotions control them.
When you say potential unseen, are you talking about a detail-oriented person, basically?
No, I'm saying like I
People.
see potential in you
Ah,
that you
okay,
don't
okay.
see
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
and I'm
I
going to
see.
call it out for you
Yeah.
to pursue.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Love that.
A godly leader puts God's will before theirs,
Yeah.
and a leader does what is right when it's not popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I love having you on the podcast because you come prepared.
I do.
You
I
had
spent
Nelson
like
last
an
time,
hour
too. I
doing
remember
this.
that. Yeah. Wait, what?
I spent like an hour getting this
Love
all
that.
my thoughts ready.
Love it. I just spend a lot of time listening or reading to other podcasts or like Bible verses, and then I feel very unprepared when I get here because I want it to be natural, but then I'm like, oh, I should have thought through my thoughts first. There's a lot of thoughts in my brain all the time, though.
Clara needs her own podcast where she just talks.
Basically. That would be a scary podcast, though. It could be.
Just
or-
live stream all day.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Okay, anyway, what are your final thoughts?
Anyway, I love that Pastor Levi came with all of the biblical things to say
Yeah.
because mine are all practical.
Yeah.
I think starting with, and I just thought of this right now, but and you hit on it in yours and seeing potential in others is that leaders build leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're a leader and you're not replicating yourself, you're not doing it right
Yeah.
Right.
because that's what leaders do.
Yeah.
Just like
that's good.
disciples make disciples.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
The rest of these all came from Logan.
Okay,
and his, which I think came from somebody else actually.
Oh,
I think
yes.
it came from his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's just quick. And I share these things to people who maybe want to be a leader. They see leadership qualities in themselves, but maybe they've been told no, or maybe they've been told wait.
Yeah.
These might be a reason why. Be on time.
Yep.
If you want to be a leader, learn how to manage your time and be on time.
I always feel convicted by that one. I've gotten so much better though. So, okay. Anyway.
Yeah. You have.
It is one of my least favorite things.
Yeah.
To not be on time, and it bothers me because I'm not on time
Oh, yeah.
more than
That's
I
really
should.
funny, actually.
You can talk to Cassidy. It is
Yeah.
my number one pet peeve.
Yeah. Wow.
If
That is
I'm
so
late,
funny.
I will go 20 over the speed limit, and I
Yeah.
will have a horrible attitude.
Oh, no.
Until I
Yeah.
get there.
I don't love
It is really bad.
Yeah, I don't love the feeling of being late. I don't know if it's because I'm a people pleaser or because I genuinely don't like the feeling of just, being hurried, I guess. But yeah. I think I always tell myself like I was doing good things and that is why I was late. But that is not a very good excuse.
I can't tell myself that anymore.
I
It turns into a snowball.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think when you're just like a busy person, I think it's really easy to say this in ministry too. I stopped to minister to someone, and that's good, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm late, and I'm so sorry, which is good in itself. but
Grace.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's always going to be inconveniences, and that doesn't mean that
Yeah.
it's wrong.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the majority of the time, you should not be late.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Working on it.
Yeah. You should make an effort not to be.
Yeah, for sure. I am making an effort. Is it paying off?
To be determined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find out next week.
Be on time. Be consistent. Consistency is so valuable.
Yeah.
Knowing that, into that is responsible, accountable. Can I trust that you're going to be where you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
Can I trust that you're going to come prepared?
Right.
Whatever that is,
Yeah.
be consistent in that. And I would even say, as a leader, we shouldn't be on edge to know what we're going to get that day.
Right.
Like, are you going to be this way or are you going to be this way?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
should be pretty even keeled and steady that more often than not, we kind of know what to expect,
Yeah.
Right.
what we're walking into.
Yeah.
Anyways, be consistent. Have a good attitude.
Yeah.
Have a good attitude. If you want to complain, don't.
Yeah.
Or have a solution.
Do you
If you have a
remember-
problem, have a solution.
Yeah. That podcast that you just sent me today, he said something about attitude that was so good.
I don't know. I took a lot of notes on it.
I wanted to take notes, but I was on my scooter. I will listen to it again.
I don't know.
Oh no, it was something about complaining. People who complain.
Oh,
It was so
yeah,
good.
he did say something
Well,
about
put
that.
it in the show notes.
Yeah,
I'll
something
find it
about
and I'll give it to
complaining.
you. Yeah.
It's gonna bother me now.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think just complaining in general, nobody wants to be around somebody who complains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that. Like,
Yeah.
The thing he said, I was like, oh, so good. It was so good. We'll put it in the show notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going.
So have a good attitude and do extra.
yeah.
If you really want to lead, it goes into your serving well.
Yep.
A good servant does extra.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
just do the bare minimum to get by and to,
Yep.
get the recognition that you're looking for. It's
Yeah.
I also see that this trash can needs emptied. I wasn't asked to do it, but I'm
Yeah.
going to do it anyways because it needs done.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be willing to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Those are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to say something about that point?
No.
Okay, I was going to wrap it up to do
Okay,
the conclusion. ish. Okay. I think, and this has kind of been our theme for the youth leaders this year, the stickers that we all have as youth leaders. And it's Paul talking in 1 Corinthians, and he says, imitate me as I imitate Christ.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to being a leader, if you truly want people to imitate you, you better be imitating Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So asking yourself that question in your conduct, in your speech, in your purity, in your faith,
Yeah.
in love, all of those things, does what I'm doing represent Christ well?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's good. Love that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Thanks, guys, for coming. Okay, what are we doing these days? Okay, you can follow us on YouTube.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can smash
Follow us
that.
Subscribe button.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so you can subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Is this all going to be in the outro? Yeah. Okay.
Nice
Thanks
double
for
outro.
listening. Okay, bye. Is this all gonna be? I'm like saying it, and then I'm like, this isn't our last outro. Is this gonna be in our new outro? Probably.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, thank you for listening. For more information about this episode, check out the show notes. If you want to stay up to date on all things God is doing at The Wild, follow us on social at TheWildYTH. And if you are in grades 6 through 12 in the Des Moines area, come join us on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 at our Clive campus, Eternity Church Clive in Clive at our Clive campus. Finally, a big shout out to Eternity Church and Pastor Connor for giving us this platform. Thank you.